Hello, welcome to my keep or fort update. It's not a keep yet. I haven't designed a wall for surrounding it, and that would depend on terrain. But, oh well, who cares? That right there is just a representation. It makes it easier to visualize just how much area is covered by the boiling oil that gets poured. Now, these would take the typical 3 turns to fill and 1 turn to activate. Takes time to heat it up, but this is where it would fall, and that's where it would spread out to. So it covers the full width of the passage, and it covers out a ways. This actually shows a little bit further out than it should, and is missing this corner. At least as far as what the in-game mechanics say is for the boiling oils. So, yeah. These terracotta pieces are to represent where the door is. If the door is closed, not destroyed, or anything, it would not stick out. It would not have the boiling oil pass by it. If the door is destroyed, it passes through that block area and out another 2 feet past the edge of the door. That's where it would fill. The inner one fills this entire area. 10-foot square is what it's officially supposed to do. So 10 foot from the center, that's the entire interior space, and 9 foot out from the door. It also covers 1 foot of the door, so the door itself, if the door is missing, the door area of it. I also removed all the torches, the unnecessary ones, from everywhere that I could, while still, being representative of everything. For example, these gatehouses are very dark compared to what they were. The slits would be much smaller, so the result is you'd see a little black line that could shoot arrows at you. Yeah, invisible archers shooting at you through the wall. Yeah, it's a pretty powerful little place. Now, I did decide to fill in this courtyard so that you could see what I had as an idea. Each level on each side has 6 rooms. They are unfurnished, although they could be furnished with whatever you wanted. Turn them into offices, turn them into residences, doesn't matter. It's got 2 floors, so you got the 6 facing this inner passage and 3 on either side facing the outside. The inside passageway here is on the level with the gatehouse. So it's a 10 by 15 passageway. This is just to, keep it, symmetrical, or, well, that's not really the right word, but you understand the idea. This is only a 9-foot wide passage, but considering that most wagons and whatnot are usually between 6 and 8 feet wide, and the wide ones are generally closer to 7 feet than 8 feet, and rarely, if ever, break 10 feet in height. This is probably going to be like, walking through a wide open passage for them. They can't go too wide down here, but they can go close. This over here is a 10 by 10 space, other than this narrow area here. So they can still move along here, but it's not as easy for them vertically. If they're like carrying very big stuff that sticks up high, they wouldn't be able to pass there. But over here, they would have plenty of vertical space, considering there is no roof over here. So, like if a wagon has a busted wheel, it can hobble its way over into here and have it right next to the forge for repair. So, there's that. Now, the main entrance to the second floor, the only entrances are back here still. But instead of it being just to the hotel side over here, it's got the additional rooms. So it's got a reduction on the amount of visual space, but it still has some. Now the main way to the center parts is actually through the giant storage area. And since this is going to be designed, since all of those rooms are designed for dwarves, not for anyone bigger, I didn't worry about lighting or anything. So I have a nice big staircase here that looks far more impressive than it actually is. I still call it the Grand Staircase, though, because why the heck not? Anyways, so it goes up to this 10-foot wide walkway. This is at 15-foot height, so on the underside, anyways. No roof, no cover, because you never know. Maybe you want to come up here and stargaze. You could put some chairs or benches or something up here. Heck, even you could even start camping out up here. Put up just like a tarp and just lean it up against the wall, and you can use it as additional sleeping space. As far as these rooms, they actually have a stairway down because they're coming from a higher elevated walkway than the 10-foot ceilings that were on the first floor. So this is needing the stairway down just to get to the floor. That means that there's a little bit less space because you've got the space for the stairway. Of course, you don't have to worry about the door opening and hitting stuff, so it's really not that much of a difference in space, maybe a foot less. Plus, you can store stuff underneath the stairs, so there is somewhat of a change, but not a very significant one in space. This could be used as a bedroom or an office. Probably more likely an office, but considering that the doors up here, I would plan on making them a little bit sturdier. Normal doors are maybe 2 inches thick. Wood with maybe a little bit of iron or steel reinforcement. Well, these would be very significantly reinforced. They would be steel reinforced stone. They would be 6 inches thick. They would have a pair of locks for various offices, just in case. I mean, you don't want somebody sneaking in and changing your records, or if this is your home, you could have somebody living up here who is scared of being assassinated. So, yeah, this would be really very defensible. You'd have to walk all the way through the entire fort, come up here, and you got pitch black. And then you have this giant door that's built like a tank to get through. Be easier to go through the wall, to be honest. So there's that. The roof of this is actually a little bit thinner, maybe 2-3 inches thick instead of the 6 inches that is displayed. But there would be supports maybe an inch wide, but an extra 2 or 3 inches thick, and it would be every 2 or 3 feet, and it would be just a line across with a line across, so bunch of X's on the ceiling. Now at the end of the walkway, I have a little bit of a narrowing and a stairway, walkway up into the gatehouse. Now, you remember I said the walkways along the walls are designed to funnel the water over into this greenery area. Well, it wouldn't take much at all to be able to modify that slightly so that I can put in a nice little reservoir here and put some of that water into this reservoir. The actual gatehouse is just completely empty right now, the design for it. So it's actually sturdy enough to support this much water very easily without issue. And that's part of why I designed it. This walkway is over the top of the reservoir. There is empty space underneath it. So this would have sort of a bucket lift so that you could get water from it, but it does have the railing so you don't fall in. It would also have a ladder of sorts to get in and out if you had an emergency and jumped in or dropped something in or something like that. It would have an emergency escape. It would be very simple to just grab a bucket of water and dump it on anything that needs it, should it need it over here in the garden area. Every single one of these rooms over here has a fireplace, and it comes up to here. It's got a very nice cover designed to very thoroughly protect it, but still let out the smoke and so on. This is supposed to have a gate across it, but it's not easy to represent in this game, so you can have access to the roof, although it's not designed for actually supporting stuff. You could theoretically have people camping on it, just extra people camping on it, and considering the fireplace, there would be heat for most of them. So there's that. Oh, I forgot to mention, this gatehouse would probably never drop below freezing due to these boiling oil vats. Due to keeping them heated and everything, it produces a lot of heat, and that would heat up the stone. And since that is up on the area that is probably the most exposed to the cold, everything else is pretty well insulated, protected from the wind and so on, with the exception of the outside wall. It would be very easy to keep this from freezing. So this would be cold in the winter, but it would still be liquid. It would not be frozen. If absolutely emergency need be, it would be very easy to install sort of heat pipes that would come and run across the inside under here, and have in the gatehouse have some fire trays up above the arrow slits, and they would pump the heat up straight into that area, and that would be very easy to put in. It wouldn't be difficult or time consuming to do. It would be a one-day project, and that would be very effective to keep the water from freezing. So there's that. Let me I'll switch to daylight and make it a little bit easier for you to see this, because I replaced the placeholders with a new placeholder. Since the ballistas and mangonels are supposed to fit in a 5x5 by 5, a 5-foot cube, I built a 5-foot cube. Now the ballistas would actually be firing from the upper edge of that cube, so I started looking at that and saw what the minimum firing range would be. Now, due to the fact that they are up on a tower and They have to aim down, they have to aim over the ledge. They cannot fire inside of 60 feet of the tower. So there's a 60-foot dead zone from each of the ballistas. Despite the fact that they can shoot somebody that's coming up that stairway, they can't hit within 60 feet of the tower because of their positioning. Back there would be the mangonels. Now I measured those out, 60 foot right there. So they can hit stuff that area of the castle. They can hit all there. And that's the yellow line. The red line is where the ballistas can shoot to. That's the 60-foot line for them. The blue line is the optimal range. That's 200 feet for the mangonels. The green line is the optimal range of 120 feet for the ballistas. Now I did map out all the way to maximum range of 480 feet for the ballistas. Unfortunately, I can't get it to visualize out to that range because that's a limitation of the game engine. Suffice to say, it's a long ways out there. If you've got medium fog is what you're seeing right now. This is the equivalent of a medium fog. You would not be able to see beyond about 250 maybe feet out from the ballistas. If it was light fog, you would barely be able to see where the ballistas can hit at 480. The mangonels hit out as far as 800 feet. And that is one that I can't even get my system to display. I can display a little bit further, but you can't see it because it's too fine of a pixelization. I don't have that high of a resolution. So that's this. That's the modifications. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you find this interesting. Let me know if you have any ideas yourself. I'm open to suggestions.